Hey there, welcome to my channel, Mess with Michelle. Today I'm in the holiday spirit and I want to kick off Christmas 2020 by decorating my front porch and creating a DIY rustic porch sign to display on my porch, so this way I can bring the holiday season right to my front steps. So if you're new here, I want to personally welcome you, and if you haven't already done so, make sure to consider hitting that subscribe button because I'd love to take you on my messy journey. So let's jump in and I'm going to get started and show exactly how I achieved this look. Here's a shot of all the items I'll be using to achieve my rustic porch sign, and I'll make a list below in the description box for you. For my sign, I'm using a piece of pine and I wanted to deepen the color and make it look more rustic, so I'm using Minwax Gel in the color Chestnut. I'm applying one full coat of stain on the board, allowing it to sit for 3 minutes. Then I'm going to go in with the Lint Free Cheesecloth and wipe away any excess stain, and then I'm going to allow it to dry for at least 24 hours or until it's fully dry. The great thing about this project and creating this sign is you can totally personalize it based on your own personal preferences. You can change the color stain, you can change the wording as well as the decor placed on the sign. So for my sign, I want to have a more rustic look with wording as well as a small Christmas tree at the very bottom with some lighting around it, so at night you can see it lit up. So before I start making anything permanent on the sign, I want to map out exactly where I was going to have my decor as well as space out my lettering. This is a great step. So before you start gluing anything on, you know exactly where everything's placed, and if you need to make any adjustments, you have that time to fiddle around with your lettering or your decor to make sure that it fits to scale of the sign that you're making. To achieve a Christmas tree that was even on both sides, I took a piece of Bristle Board, I folded it in half, and I drew half a Christmas tree, and then I went ahead and cut the Christmas tree out. This will give you a nice symmetrical tree to make sure both sides are even. Now that everything's aligned on the sign, here's a quick shot of everything lined up, and it's great to plan ahead, so this way when you're going in to finalize where your letters are and start painting and putting on your decor and hot gluing it to the board, you know exactly where everything should lie on this board. So I just found these letters from Dollarama, and they're stickers that you put on the wall, and I actually like the wording as well as the size, so I thought they'd be perfect for my sign, and I just cut them out and I just use them as a guideline so I can go in now and using paint and start painting out my letters. Now I did use a semi-gloss paint in the color Ultra White by Valspar, but I wouldn't recommend using semi-gloss because it was kind of goopy and it was really hard to work with. I probably would suggest using a more matte finish. With the letters outlined as well as the Christmas tree, I'm just going in with a larger brush and just filling in all the lettering, and here's a shot of what the sign looks like so far. Adding the Christmas lights around the Christmas tree is probably the most intricate part of this whole entire process. So with the help of Bobby, we had to map out exactly where each light was going to be placed, and I'm using string lights, so if you are doing the same look, make sure you count the amount of lights that you have and how many holes you have to drill, because we started mapping out and then we realized that we have to take in mind there's only 50 lights, so we couldn't go beyond that. So after doing careful measurements and mapping everything out, we're ready to start drilling and preparing for the lights. So this part here, we're using a very narrow drill bit and we're going to be drilling through the entire board. So what we had to do is we had to measure the tip of the light versus the base of the light, because the tip is a lot more narrow and the back of the light is a lot more bulkier. So what we want to have is a very smooth finish and not to have the lights popping out. So by drilling right down into the board all the way through, this would allow the small tip of the light to peek through, and then we're going to go in on the back of the board and we're going to make a larger hole, so this way the base of the light can be placed inside. Another important thing to remember if you are outlining such as a Christmas tree, you want to make sure that the holes are spaced out enough and they reach the points of the tree, so this way you can actually translate a tree outline when you light this up and you can see it at night. So this is a larger bit that we're using, and Bobby put a bit of black mark on the drill bit, so this way he knew exactly how deep to drill. For this part we didn't want to go all the way through because we just wanted to make sure that the base of the light fit in the hole and the tip of the light peeked through, so this way the other side all the lights were nice and flush. The size of your holes will depend on the type of lights that you're using, so you'll have to make sure you have the precise measurements in order to know the exact drill bits required in order to make the hole size. We used a vernier scale to ensure that we had the precise measurements, so this way we knew exactly how large the front hole need to be and how large the back holes need to be. So you can see now at the very back everything is drilled out. So with that, I'm going in now with a polyurethane to protect the wood and give it a nice gloss. So since this is going to be outside, I want to make sure it had some coverage and everything was sealed, so this way it could be left outside. And if you are putting it on your porch and it's not covered, I definitely suggest not skipping this step. So now that I have everything dry from the polyurethane, I'm going in with my string of lights and I'm just following the pattern that we had drilled earlier and just placing the lights inside of the holes. Now some of the holes were a little bit looser, so I went in with some hot glue with the lights that kept popping out just to make sure that they're fully secure. So now that all the lights are now inserted at the back of the sign, I'm going to start adding the decor onto the front. So I just found this small star in my Christmas decorations and I'm just placing it over the very top light, so this way it will glow when it's lit up at night. So now that I know where everything's going to be placed on the board with my decor, I'm just going in now with hot glue and I'm just gluing the ribbon onto my board. And I purchased this ribbon from Michaels, and I also bought the branches for the top of the board also from Michaels. I really strongly suggest, if you are shopping there, try to wait for their 40% off sale. The branches that I purchased were $13.99 each, but I got them for 40% off. To secure the branches to the board, I used hot glue, but I also used a staple on each branch to ensure that it was secure onto this board. Since it will be outside, I want to make sure that these didn't fall off or blow away. And I actually added this bow at the very top of the board last minute because I wanted to have something to fill the top because it felt like something was missing. So I just used that same ribbon and created this bow. And this is the first time creating a bow for anything, and I highly suggest checking out YouTube videos because you can definitely learn how to make a bow in one day like I did. With everything now secured to the board, here's the final look on my porch, and it just looks beautiful on my porch. That gives a nice rustic, welcoming look, and also looks great at night because of this lit up Christmas tree. So I really hope you loved this video, and if you did, make sure to hit that like button, and I hope to see you next Sunday when I upload my next video.